Welcome to the Business Boom Podcast, powered by Boomtag Media. Each week, we are sitting down with growth-obsessed, dynamic entrepreneurs, marketing experts, and business owners who have cracked the code to explosive growth. I'm your host, Kendra Noel. Let's take things to the next level and spark your business into its boom era.
Hello, thank you for joining us for another episode of the Business Boom Podcast. Super excited for our guest this week. Zoe, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to join.
Hi, Kendra. Thanks for having me, and hello to everyone listening in.
It's been a while since we connected, so before we get started, maybe we could just catch up a little bit. I saw a post that you did recently that you had an opportunity to do a speaking gig based on the tour that you kind of took around the world on your bicycle. The last time we did an event together, you were actually in the midst of that. I can't remember what country you were in when we talked, but it was back when we were doing audio only events. So the format was a little bit different, but I just remember being super excited to interview you for that whole process that you were going through. So, how was that speaking opportunity? And are you going to be doing more of that?
Yeah, oh, that's amazing that you've seen that and remembered that I was on the trip when we did our first conversation. So yeah, so that for anyone who doesn't know, I'd cycled around the world. It took me 2 years, 2 months, and had a 3-year COVID hiatus between that. And yeah, we did do our first speaking event during that. I can't believe it's been that long though since we
Right?
properly connected, because it feels like yesterday to me that we did that. That's actually really surprised me because I don't remember that it was there. So at the minute I volunteer for charity now as just kind of part of trying to just do good things for the community and stuff. And I told them just casually about the bike trip, and they asked me if I would be like the speaker at their like AGM, which I
Mhm.
was absolutely thrilled to do, because I actually wanted to do some kind of talk about it. I was thinking to go to like universities or maybe businesses, but I don't know. I suppose I'm not nervous to do it, but it's just new and I just kind of haven't done it before. So yeah, and it made me create the presentation and think about the themes of the talk. So it's kind of got me over that first hurdle, hasn't it? Which is always starting. Like my husband always says, it's really hard to get to the start line of anything. But I'm now
Right.
at the start line of speaking. That's the hard bit done. And yeah, I'm going to try and do some more. And I'm thinking to do a couple, maybe try and get like donations for the charity. So I'll do it basically for free and say, kindly donate to charity if you will. And that will be like my thank you to them for kind of pushing me over
Oh,
that first
that's
hurdle.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's
So
awesome to
yeah.
build something good to go along with it. And then just for people to be able to learn from your experience.
Yeah.
I know I was super interested in hearing about how you were working during that whole thing. You were freelancing, right? Freelancing, doing SEO like you do now, but you were doing it during this bicycle trip around the world. So you've been a huge inspiration to me because I think I told you that first time, like I want to eventually get to that point after my kids go off in their own directions after they're finished with school. I think freelancing and traveling is just like a goal of mine at some point.
That would be amazing, wouldn't it? I think definitely one of those things is enough, like either kids or traveling while working. I think all three of those things might be too much for anybody.
I would agree. I would agree.
Yeah.
So, how are you settling back in now that you are full time back at home and running your agency and everything?
Yeah, it's really good. It's like I look back now and I do think like, how did I do that? I just don't, because you said like I wonder how you done it. I don't know how I did it. I actually commented on someone's LinkedIn post today. They talked about how do solo freelancers find the time to like serve their clients, be active in the community, and do their own marketing. And their point was like they're always a bit suspicious of like those who have the time to do that, which I kind of get. But I mean, I did do that while cycling, but like now I'm a bit more settled. I just feel a bit more like kind of relaxed, like still got the same fire for the work and the clients, obviously, and still putting out loads of work and with big clients as well, which is exciting. But I have taken a slightly different pace now. My own marketing has taken a bit of a nosedive. But we do things like our own podcast now because we think it's like maybe like it's not super intensive to do it. Like it's an hour a month we do. We're not doing loads of episodes. Someone else edits it for us, but we feel like the kind of power and the impact from that has got more potential. So I guess it's like, I think it's just like funneling energy, isn't it, into the stuff
Mhm.
to give you the biggest boost.
Yeah, that was gonna be my next question for you, how the podcast was going. I know I, listened to the first couple episodes, and, they're really great. They're really informative. They're on, I'd say, a higher level. Like, you have to know marketing a little bit to understand your topics.
Yeah, it might be a bit of a problem actually, which I don't know whether we need, because me and Lee just talk for ages and like we love doing it, but I am wondering whether we need to scale them down a little bit, maybe create like 2 or 3 episodes out of these topics, because I think you're right, and I do wonder if they're not accessible enough for people as well.
Well,
So
they're
yeah,
really meaty, like, they're good stuff.
yeah, me too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So my husband kind of tells me the same thing with my podcast, like you need to put it down for the average business owner because that's the target market that we reach with the business boom is just people trying to grow their businesses. So that would kind of lead me to my first question about SEO for you. If you're good with that, if you could explain kind of in layman's terms, basic, what is SEO and why do business owners need to worry about it?
Okay, so SEO stands for search engine optimization. It's basically like the art, if you like, the science and the art of getting websites to rank on Google or search engines. That was at least the traditional, because as we've known it for many years, the kind of description, but the SEO landscape is changing a lot now. So it's SEO that is responsible wholly, for the most part, for your rankings in things like AI overviews and Chat GPT. So when people are searching in these alternative search tools, it is SEO that is your ticket into those. And I think that's really important to say at this point because there's a lot of noise about GEO, standing for generative engine optimization, as if it's a completely different thing, but it isn't. And I think that's quite important because I would hate to think of a smaller business feeling like they have to hire 2 people to do SEO and GEO when actually SEO can handle it more. And also I think probably they can handle it better because they've got the experience of SEO and search generally, whereas someone who's like kind of coming in as a GEO expert, they don't have that history, and I don't think they have the experience to be offering the services without that SEO background. I mean, we've all got to start somewhere, so absolutely fine if you're new, but that's how people who don't haven't done SEO but are now doing GEO need to present themselves. I feel like I diverged from your question there a little bit, but it did all feel kind of under the umbrella of what
Oh,
it
sure.
is.
Yeah. Yes. So, for people who aren't super concerned about their website ranking at the top, but they're obviously going to want to be able to like move forward in business at any kind of level, need to be found by these new AI searches, and that is changing so much. I mean, it's all over my head a little bit, even though I do digital marketing. I always tell people, if you're super concerned about being found, you need a SEO expert. Like I kind of help drive website traffic in different ways through social media. And there's a lot of ways to get people to your website without being found in a search. But I think because of that AI piece, would you say that it's super important that they actually are concerned about being found in these searches and how are they
Yeah,
going to do that?
to be thinking about this like on the fly now, I think probably more businesses do need to be concerned about the kind of AI piece compared to the search engine piece. So for just to caveat that, AI search is still really small. So although it feels really, I think to us especially, it feels like this big, massive thing, like we're in the world of marketing. it is still a really small percentage of search. So something like 97% of search is happening through traditional search engines, and about 3% are happening on AI search platforms. That is expected to grow. I think there are studies suggesting it's going to outgrow traditional search by 2028, but of course anything could happen. I think the two will actually exist together for quite a long time. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I wouldn't want anyone to hear what I'm about to say, panic, and think it's all AI search now, because it actually isn't. It is still quite small, and like you've got to remember, like these tools actually need like paid subscriptions in order to use them for any length of time. Like you can only write so many prompts, so they have to pay, and like the average person just isn't going to be doing that. So deep research is still happening on Google or whatever search engine. It is primarily Google. So yeah, I do think though that AI search is going to grow. Like I think it's brilliant. Like I use it all the time for my own like personal things. If I'm buying a big product, I can guarantee you I've asked Chat GPT to break down the different products and recommend what's best for me given this circumstance and this specific set of requirements. And like that is what AI search is allowing people to do. It's allowing them to get very specific with what they're searching. And it's just very easy, isn't it? It pulls all the information to you. It gives you what you ask for. You don't have to go onto like a blog to then figure out the answer to your specific question. So, and the reason why I'm saying this is I don't actually think that every business needs SEO in traditional search. Because if you're kind of generating your leads elsewhere and it's not a priority, I think that is kind of fine. I think every business could probably benefit from it. But I mean, I personally, although I am an SEO specialist, I don't have the time to do what I need to do to get every single page on my website ranking. And I just rely on LinkedIn for my leads, and I get enough through there. So, SEO isn't a priority for my business. So not everyone needs it. But I do think that AI search will be more of a need for people in the future as it becomes more popular.
Yeah, I agree. Did you say you lean on LinkedIn for leads?
Yeah, LinkedIn and referral. Yeah, I mean, I'd love to do more SEO actually, and I have started, especially because we're doing the podcast. You can kind of use AI to like take the transcript, put it into Chat GPT, and then it helps me write an article that can kind of support that podcast, and then they do rank. But it's just finding the time, isn't it? When you're doing everything else, your own marketing is always what suffers.
That's very true. I found AI super helpful for helping with the podcast, like you were saying. I've never done a blog, but I know that that's like super important to help your website rank and to be found and that kind of thing. So when I started the podcast, I'm like, okay, well, the episodes will serve almost as blog post. So I have a podcast page where I do use AI to I put the transcript in and I say, write me a description of the podcast, give me the highlights, that kind of thing. So
Yeah,
it's
it's so
super
good.
helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't do this all without the help of AI. So that's super helpful. So other than this new recent surge of AI and all the changes there, I know you're keeping up with SEO and the changes just on a general basis. You write articles about it. I've read your HubSpot stuff. I think I've contributed to a couple. Um, and you'd had one recently about the kind of changes AI is bringing. What in your research like really stood out?
Which article was that one? I'm trying to remember it.
I don't remember the name of it. I just remember,
Was it like the future of SEO? Maybe.
I think so.
Might have been. That was quite big on the AI. That was I loved writing that article because HubSpot gives you quite a lot of freedom as well to kind of write what you like. So I actually got in touch with various specialists, some who were like really like for AI, and some who I don't want to say were against it because that's not the case, but were perhaps a little bit more skeptical, which I think was really good because I got to look at it on balance, and I really wanted to, like I said at the start or earlier in this podcast, like it is a big thing, it is coming, but it's also still a really small percentage of search. So I wanted to like balance that. So there were some people who thought that we were kind of at the peak of the hype with AI, and actually we're going to see interest decline in it. And when I wrote it, I was fully on board with that, but my opinion has changed a little bit there. I think we are going to see continued growth, but I think potentially the kind of newness of it the gloss will wear off a little bit. Content is still really important. It's completely unavoidable not to create content. So if you are someone who needs to be featured in these LLMs, like that's large language models like Chat GPT, you do need SEO. You do need to create content, and it needs to be done in like an SEO friendly way. I think ultimately the search platforms like Chat GPT or whatever, they do take from what's ranking in Google, and for the most part you will see a lot of like what ranks on page 1 cited in the AI tools. Not always, but often it's still really significant. So all those kind of like SEO best practices remain. Things like headings being formatted correctly, so your H2 tags and your H3 tags. So one common mistake I see, especially on like smaller websites or like maybe like startup businesses, is this kind of error in headings. So your headings should always be like kind of like a book. So your H1 is like your title, your H2 are the chapters, and then your H3s are like sub chapters, if you like. And what often happens is you like the styling of the H2, so you make like random bits of content a H2, so you get this lovely like larger font and everything. But that doesn't help ChatGPT or even Google at all. Like it really wants to be well structured, and there normally are ways around that. Like you can just add styling if you've got like a developer who can help you. What else? So things like bullet points and like making content kind of easy to understand, like directive language is good as well. So if you're writing like a how-to guide, for example, and you've got like a step-by-step guide, I would use that directive language, like step 1, colon, then write the step. And it's stuff, if you're like a good writer or you're just kind of writing content that you really want to be easy to read for people, you're going to do that anyway. And I generally think a good content writer will accidentally tick all the boxes to do well with a well-structured piece of content that has everything it needs. Which I think off the top of my head, what else came up? I mean, those are 2 pretty good ones, and I do think like versions of that were good. I guess there's always EEAT, which we talk about a lot in SEO, which is like experience, expertise, authority, and trust. And like, so EEAT is a very wide concept. It's not like a ranking factor, but to demonstrate high levels of experience, expertise, authority, and trust, you need to do a lot of things really well. So that can be like the most basic things, like making sure your website is secure, having your SSL certificate in place, having content that's easy to read, well structured. All of this contributes. But it might also be like making sure that what you bring to your business is very clear on your website. And it's very easy not to do that because generally people don't like writing about themselves. But if you don't tell Google who you are and that you've got 20 years experience in something, or that you've worked with this prestigious client, it won't know. So you need to think about what people need to trust someone enough to buy, and then make sure that it's out there in the content. So yeah, I could keep going, but shall I stop there before I overwhelm? Or?
Oh no, you're good. I've been writing down a couple notes. I'm like, okay, let's circle back to a couple things. When you say creating like really good content, is this only website content, or can content find you, like, or can the searches find you for content that's not specifically published on your website?
Yeah, that's a really good point, actually. So I was referring to content on your website, but it is so much bigger than that. Things like how people perceive you, how people talk about you, what they're writing on Reddit, what people are writing. Like, so let's say you've got like a SaaS tool, if it's being reviewed by someone, if they say positive things about it, that's going to feed in. It's going to be the kind of data and the information that the search bots can find. If someone says something negative, they can find that as well. So like ultimately, if the information is out there online and it's findable by the bots, which it probably will be, it could end up being cited. And what actually that leads on really well to a point about, I often get asked by my clients if they can, they want someone to go into ChatGPT and type best SaaS tool for ... and they want to appear in it. Like, who doesn't want that? I'd love to be found for like best SEO. But you can't say that about yourself and expect to rank. And that's always been true in SEO. Like generally those search terms are reserved for like third party credibility. So
That
that's like
makes
press,
sense.
PR. Yeah. So that's where your PR comes in. So you need to find someone who can get you cited in things like listicle articles, and say good things about you. But I mean, directories and stuff might also help review type content. And I mean, you can always try and rank for something like that. And if it's very niche, you might, but it's quite unlikely that you can kind of give yourself that title, which makes sense.
Right. Yeah. The credibility piece, definitely having other people talking about you. So does that go with general Google reviews or is that more on like other articles citing your business?
Yeah, definitely on Google review, both of those for sure. So I'll tell you what's really powerful about Google reviews. I've seen particularly in AI mode. So I did this piece for Backlinko, which isn't published yet, where I tested 11 different search tools. And AI mode is really, really strong for e-commerce. And so if you put something in like best running trainers for like long distance running or ultra marathons or something, it will give you like a product recommendation, but then it will pull in the reviews directly from Google. So that kind of search interface allows people to see those reviews all in one place. So yeah, I mean, absolutely. And that's it's third party, isn't it? So it's credibility from
Mhm.
the world.
Gotcha. Yeah, that totally makes sense. And then the EEAT, I mean, it's like something I hear in marketing. I have got to be honest, I don't completely understand it. So when we're talking about general business owners, it's going to be something that's not even on their radar. Can we dive into that a little bit deeper?
Yeah, we can. So EEAT is actually a framework. So it's like a concept. And the EEAT framework is used by Google search rater. Wait, let me get the right name. So this Google search raters, basically people who manually look at websites. So they have this framework to help them manually determine if a website displays high levels of trust, medium, or low. I think there's like 5 categories in total. So although it's not an algorithm, it's not like a ranking factor exactly, because you can't kind of computerize it in its entirety. But if we know that Google has given this framework to humans to manually vet websites, you
So
can
Google
kind of
is paying people to look at websites manually and implement this framework? Okay,
correct. So I mean,
that's
I
news
assume
to
that
me.
is. Yeah, oh, is it?
Okay.
I'll have to send you the link to the. It's really interesting. Like I feel like everyone should read it once. Well, I mean, I find it interesting, but it's not for everyone, is it? But yeah, so yeah, people manually look at websites. So it's just a concept, just a framework. Um, yeah, and then so what SEOs do is they look at that framework and they look at all the little things that people are set that humans are looking at, um, and then kind of assume that Google's going to try and create like an algorithm that can replicate this. I can't remember. I've got a summary printed out in my desk drawers. Actually, that's how important I think it is, and I like to look at that every now and again. But like an example would be like a website that's talking about. I think they use like the BMI as an example, which is I don't know if that's a thing everywhere, but in the UK it's like basically like height to weight ratio. And then there's a website with this is a specific example that stands out in my mind, and it's like and it's got a BMI calculator on it. And because the calculator's there, the search rated guidelines are expected to see that as a more authoritative or a page displaying more EEAT because it's useful. Another example is like a blog that's been written by I think the example is like a childcare specialist or something like that. It's in that category. I just can't really remember it. And because the person has got previous experience, credentials in that, like they get more weight for
Mhm.
writing like parenting blogs, for example. So yeah, showcasing that.
So if it's your area of expertise and you're contributing like information and thought leadership, it ranks higher?
Correct. Yeah, in theory.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. So like if I go and write something about like SEO, that's going to look great because I've got like 7 years of LinkedIn posts proving that I've done it, case studies on my website, credibility from writing for HubSpot. But if I go and write something on like dog grooming, Google's going to be like, that's a little bit suspicious. Why is Zoe Ashbridge writing about dog grooming? She doesn't look like she has a lot of experience in that. And I
Mhm.
don't.
Yeah, and a lot of business owners, I don't think they're considering themselves writers, or they're not looking to like publish articles or things like that. So, um, are there other things they can do to improve rankings?
I think without a good content strategy, it is going to be a bit of a struggle,
Yeah.
to be honest, unless you're doing something super niche. So I guess the thing is, like, let's say you've got like a product or a service and you go and create a page for it and you put it live on your website. It's quite difficult for Google to see that you should be trusted over everybody else. And like Google's pretty careful with what it will put at the top of the search results because it wants to provide, excuse me, wants to
Okay.
provide good sources.
Mhm.
So if you don't look like a good source, then it's hard for them to trust you really. And it'd be hard for your readers as well. Yeah, I mean, you can do other things, but I just feel like you'd be missing a major component if you didn't write.
Yeah. So if you're not a writer, copywriters, SEOs, marketing specialist, like if you're really worried about getting your business showing up, that's probably who you need to be going to, correct?
Definitely. And then have it like ghost written so you still author it if you're the expert, and then you can do so much with that. But at the very least, have your biography, like you can just be like a paragraph or so with like who you are. And you can look at one of my author bios on HubSpot or something, and then it has like links to my LinkedIn, which will verify like me as a human. And then you can get into like schema. It's a bit more advanced, so we'll probably park that one for maybe another podcast one day.
Something a little bit more in depth.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, cool. What's your favorite part been about doing your podcast so far?
Oh, to be honest, I love just talking to Lee. Like I love talking to Lee. I love hearing what she's got to say. Um, it's a nice way to like give people information, I think, although I am worried about the accessibility of mine. Um, yeah, it's very natural, isn't it? Just like sitting here, like talking to you. It always just feels like a nice way to spend an hour. And like I said, it's kind of quick as well. I can't remember if this was on air or off air, but we were talking about, in like 1 hour, Lee and I, or me and you even, will create this podcast. And then for us, we pay an editor to help us with the editing and the uploading. And Lee does all the legwork to it. She's amazing. And I very much kind of just run behind her and poach off all of her really good work. She really manages it. But yeah, it's just a good way, and it connects as well, doesn't it?
Oh
And
yeah,
I
absolutely.
feel like the impact will be good.
Yeah, we are live currently. I turned the chat on, but like I said, because of the promotion being falling
So
a little
sorry
bit
about that.
behind with this particular episode, I don't see anyone currently live in the chat. But I do like that part. So the communication with my guest, of course, is like always top, But then like sometimes people will come in the comments in the chat and add to the conversation, which is always amazing as well.
Yeah, I
So.
love that about your podcast. We don't do that. Well, I don't know, we don't record them live. Maybe we should. So that's a really nice feature, definitely. And it was really good fun when we did the LinkedIn audio. It was we did get a few questions, didn't we?
Yeah, yeah, that was like it had a different level to it because people could audibly ask their questions. So, like
Yeah, yeah.
currently, the way it's set up, I really like it for repurposing because there's so much you can do with the replay, but you don't get
Mm.
that piece where people like actually get to talk to you. I liked that it was almost like a radio show where people call in and
Yeah,
talk to the DJs or whatever. But this way, like you still get some interaction with the crowd, so that's pretty cool. I love that.
definitely.
Um, Man, I feel like we've gone through so many of these questions that I had for you, like really fast. I don't have a whole lot others, but if there are other thoughts that you have, like that would be helpful for business owners, and just like maybe we could talk about if they don't have a website.
Oh,
Um,
that's good.
what would
Yeah.
they do to be found if they don't have
Yes.
a website?
If you don't have a website, I guess, I mean, my feeling is everyone can benefit from a website. I think you might struggle to have like authority as a business without it. Because I think even if someone finds you on social media,
Mhm.
and it's fine to do the majority of your work. I mean, I guess that's what I do. Like all of my work comes from LinkedIn. I could delete my website and I probably wouldn't really notice it, to be honest. But I'm optimizing it. It's being redone, it's being rebranded, we're going to rebuild it, even though I don't rely on it, because I really think it's like quite an important like kind of source of trust. And I think also this is kind of the territory I'm stepping in now. It might be that someone on LinkedIn has kind of met Zoe Ashbridge or Lee Buttrey and they really like us, but they now need to convince 5 stakeholders that we are the kind of boutique agency they need to hire. And those, say, 4 people will go onto the website and build a picture of us. And if you don't have that, I think you're
Mhm.
probably missing out a little bit. But yeah, I mean, there's really nothing wrong. If you can do it on social media and it's working for you, then yeah, who am I
That's
to tell you what to do?
Well, that's something I hear a lot lately. So it's good to get your perspective and hear, because I tell people I do think they need a website, even if it's super basic, because people do a lot of word of mouth. They think they don't need a website. And my rebuttal to that is kind of the same as what you just said. Say your best friend tells you you should go use so and so, but you've never heard of so and so. So, yeah, you can find them on Instagram, maybe, or LinkedIn, and like, okay, this is maybe a good person to use, but I'd love to see a little bit more detail, because there's only so much that those social media landing pages give you an opportunity, and you can optimize them. And that's a good thing to do, is to go through and make sure your profiles look great. So if people get word of mouth, they're checking you out, those look good. But that
Yeah,
website is just another level where you have much more room to put the information about your business and build that authority. I would totally agree with you.
yeah, and it's probably the one place where you get to like really control the narrative of what people say about you as well. So like if someone's using like an AI search, which they will do more of in the future, if the content about you doesn't exist from you, they're going to be putting content from anywhere. And if you're lucky, it'll be your social media posts, but it could be someone else's social media post, someone who's written a bad review about you, someone who reviewed your product and didn't like it. And you don't get to like balance the narrative about you without your own website. So I think that's quite important.
Yeah, that's a
Um,
really good point.
yeah, yeah. I had something else on that. What was your original question? So I remember thinking, oh, I'll talk about that first, and then I'll
Just any business owners, how they would show up in searches if they don't have a website.
Yeah, oh, no, okay, we did cover that then. I think that's probably it. I'll tell you what is really good now. If you don't have a website and you don't have the coding skills or the money to get a developer, things that have you seen these like AI website builders now? Because they are really impressive. Like you can just like go to Wix, go to Squarespace, WordPress even, literally type your website requirements and the AI will build a website for you. Now, I've not taken it from that to live, but I have
Uh-huh.
genuinely built like a website. I think I use Wix because I was kind of tempted to dip my toes into the e-commerce world. But then I'm like, so you don't have time. But I actually built like an e-commerce website on Wix in literally in minutes. And obviously it's going to need some fine tuning, but it was
Right.
mega. What was created within 30 minutes was amazing.
Well, that's a really good point, and an area where we differ a little bit as far as marketing. I saw on your bio that you're really good with WordPress. I If I make a website for a client, I do not do WordPress for them. I'm typically using the Wix, the Squarespace, Go High Level, or something like that. I have played with those a little bit, but I feel like they're more like they find you the right template.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
not that much different than searching the templates. It's like, okay, maybe if you say you're a hairdresser, they're going to find you one that's geared a little bit more in that direction, but it's still just kind of their best template pick for you. They may fill in some basic level information, but yeah, you're still definitely going to have to go through and put in your own stuff.
Yeah,
So,
my expectation is I would need help. I actually wanted to push it to the next level just so I could see. But just for full transparency, I'm not great on WordPress. My husband is. I'm
oh,
quite good on WordPress. My husband is amazing on WordPress. He's actually a WordPress developer. So
oh, perfect.
the
Yeah.
WordPress stuff is delegated to him. He's
Uh-huh.
yeah, very, very capable.
But I think
Whereas
that's something that people don't understand a lot of times is what's the biggest difference for them if they go with like a templated website like Wix compared to a WordPress site where everything can be coded and like laid out specifically for them and their business. Maybe we could dive into that a little bit.
yeah, yeah, definitely. So I mean I think to be honest with you, you hear a lot about um one platform being better than the other. And for SEO, I really don't think I think most platforms that are kind of Wix, Squarespace, WordPress, Shopify, whatever, they're all fine. They're so well built. They've been around for years. Wix used to get so much kind of negative feedback on its SEO capabilities, but it's really fine. And they have really strong SEOs working there now, and they have done for many years. So I think in terms of like that, like just pick something that you can use and you feel comfortable with, and that kind of serves your business now and into the future. Like, like starting an e-commerce business on WordPress might be originally fine, but if you end up with like loads of products, you're going to wish you started it on Shopify because you're
Yeah.
going to end up migrating probably. um WordPress is one of the only open source platforms. So with what that means is you can do what you want to it. So hire a developer and they can do anything. They've got complete free reign. You could like change a checkout completely if you wanted. Whereas like Shopify is not open source and the checkout is set. You can't touch it. But I mean I wouldn't worry about that because I'm pretty sure Shopify have, got their funds, done their research and made it as amazing as they can. So yeah, that's the main difference really. I think sometimes though, like sticking with like a drag and drop builder is perfect. So for example, for the charity I work with, I would love to. The website's like it's very typical, like very small charity, very low budget. It's not great, but anyone can edit it. And like when you take a charity, for example, they generally have like can have a fast ton of volunteers. People come and go because they're giving up their free time. Like
Right.
someone has a baby or something, they might drop volunteering. And if they were managing the website and they had the coding skills and they were doing it for free, suddenly there's a problem because now they need to like hire for that position. Whereas like a drag and drop editor keeps everyone very safe
Mhm.
because everyone could learn it to some degree. How good you are on it is questionable, obviously, but you can at least still log in and at least change the text if you need to.
You're
Whereas,
right. How does
yeah,
the SEO different on the different platforms? Because I know a lot of those drag and drop type ones say that they have built-in SEO. I am never sure how good that SEO actually is.
I mean, I think anything that's like built in is only going to be the very foundations of it anyway. Like you can't really like SEO is never like one and done. You don't get to just do it and then leave it forever.
Yeah, that's a very good
So
point.
yeah, like I think like something like Wix or Squarespace is going to be like the foundations are going to be in place for sure, but you are going to need to know about the rest of it in order to do well. So like your title tags, your headings, your well-structured content, like your website hierarchy. That you're going to need like some specialist knowledge eventually. Some of it you'll be able to like research yourself. Chat GPT would be really good at getting you started.
Yeah,
Podcasts, stuff like that.
right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's a really good point. There's always so much good free information out there. Sometimes it's a little bit hard to like siphon through and figure out what to listen to, but
Yeah.
they can always follow your podcast. Could you tell us how they would find your podcast?
Yeah, so we're available on all like streaming services, so like Spotify or Apple or whatever. And we are Frank Marketing, so that's Frank FORANK Marketing. And I think we've up to about, I don't know, 8, 10 episodes now.
Awesome.
So, yeah, there's lots on there.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed our time together, Zoe, and I hope that people would be able to get glean some really good information from the conversation as well. So other than the podcast, they know they can find you on LinkedIn, right?
Yeah, that's probably the best place, but the
Best
website is there.
place.
Or
Yeah,
maybe go and look at the website in like 6 months when we have this redesign done.
that's where I found you, was LinkedIn. We started chatting in comments and stuff like years ago. So
Yeah.
that's definitely the place that you want to follow her. I think I saw Rank has a Instagram. Is that right?
It does. We've got Instagram, Facebook, but to be honest with you, it hasn't, maybe even TikTok as well, but we are a small business and we like to stay small. So we just don't have the time to manage all these platforms. So they are there. Feel free to give them a follow, but I don't know if anyone's actually manning those as they should be.
I get it. It happens to a lot of businesses. So, and that's, where Boomtag Media helps as well. So I think that this has been a great collaboration. Thank you so much for taking your time to chat with us today. And if anyone has SEO follow-up questions, I would just encourage you to get a hold of Zoe. And
Yeah, drop me a message.
yeah, well, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. I'm going to wrap it up for now.
Sounds good. Thanks so much for having me on. It's lovely to catch up with you properly.
Yes, as well. Thank you.
Bye.
That's it for this week's Business Boom podcast. You've got the spark. Now go light up your business with what you have learned. If you like what you heard today, hit that subscribe button, drop us a review, or tell a fellow entrepreneur about the show. Keep pushing, keep growing, and catch us next week for more booming business strategies.